Your blood runs orange and blue. This is the pod for you. You're listening to Orange and Blue Bloods, hosted by EJ Stewart and Tommy Beer. Let's get to it.
The season barely got finished wrapping up, and you got Fournier talking, and then now we got speculation about stars who could be coming to the Knicks this offseason. So it started with T-Wolves forward Karl-Anthony Towns, and that was the biggest thing that gained a lot of buzz this weekend. According to Eric Pincus of Bleacher Report, several NBA sources over the past couple of years have expressed that they believe the Knicks will ultimately end up with Karl-Anthony Towns, a CAA client. He also noted in the Bleacher Report article other names that Knicks could be attached to are Bradley Beal, Kyle Kuzma, both of the Wizards, and OG Anunoby of the Toronto Raptors. Now, Towns is set to make $36 million next season before a Supermax deal kicks in beginning in the 2024-2025 season, where he'll make $224 million over 4 seasons. So, Tommy, do you think Cat would be a good fit for the Knicks?
Good fit, yeah. I think in the right scenario, if he's obviously extremely talented, shooter, helps space the floor a little bit. Better defender, I think, than people give him credit for. His toughness and durability and all those questions are there. If he was a free agent and wanted to sign for $15 million a year, I think certainly, there's a scenario in which it could be beneficial to the Knicks. For a player that's going to make $61.1 million in 27-28, $57 million the year before, $53 million in 2025. Keep in mind, he will make more than Randall and Brunson combined, for 2 of those 3 years. It's just not a possibility. It's not feasible. There's no. I saw one trade. I think it was FanDuel or some account had. Okay, who says no? The Knicks and R.J. Barrett and Obi Toppin and 3 first-round draft picks and a swap. I'm like, nah, it's a negative value contract. That's a damaged asset. The Wolves would have to attach draft capital to get rid of Karl-Anthony Towns. So all that, I understand that people want to get out and talk about trades and get our minds off the loss and how can we improve this team. And Karl-Anthony Towns, a pretty good player, a very good player, very good NBA player, a good versatile skill set from New York, New Jersey area. It's been
grew up a Knicks fan.
Yeah, grew up a Knicks fan. Was MSG, was an MSG intern for a while.
Yeah.
Is again, at Kentucky, terrific number one overall pick, all that stuff. Like a really good player. Not what the Knicks need per se. It doesn't really address too many of their needs. They're, obviously they have Randall and Robinson at center. The fit between Gobert and Towns obviously wasn't great. So if you have Robinson next to Towns, that's not ideal. So there's a lot of other kind of hunky junky stuff out there, but to me, the talk is dead on arrival because I don't see any way Leon Rose is willing to absorb that contract, knowing, again, the salary cap is going to rise. It doesn't look, it's not quite as bad as it seems to the naked eye, but it's pretty bad. And in my opinion, it's a bad allocation of cap space and resources. So for that reason, I wouldn't travel down that route. My sense is if the Knicks wanted to explore the Karl-Anthony Towns option, they could if things go sideways this season, after next season, if there's, I think that player will be available due to his contract. I don't think anyone's coming in and scooping him up. So for that reason, I don't see that as a likely scenario.
Yeah, when I see here in the article, it says several NBA sources are saying this about Karl-Anthony Towns. I'm wondering if those sources are Tim Connolly, are they Chris Finch, are they Alex Rodriguez?
A-Rod.
Yeah. Those got to be the sources because I agree. Like that contract is just it's not tradable to me. Like it is like the new Russell Westbrook contract. Like he's a better player than Russell Westbrook, but the idea that and he's younger, but the idea that anybody's going to take that contract on, it's not gonna be now. It's gonna be later on in the contract, maybe where somebody's just trying to dump a ton of money. But Karl-Anthony Towns, good player, but a guy coming off his worst career year, possibly, like maybe his worst year, at least since he's a rookie. 20 points, only 8 rebounds, only played about 29 games this year. And it's interesting looking at Cat's career because he started off as a very durable player, played all 82 the first 3 games of his career. Now, I know he played some years with Tibbs, so that probably had a lot to do with that. But then even the year after, 77 games. And then it seems like since 2019, he's been dealing with injuries. 35 that year, 50 in the shortened season. That was about 72 games. He misses like 22 there. Then he played a lot of games last year, 74 out of the 82, but then this year only 29. I mean, I don't know how that's a plus asset at this point. Like, to me, Cat's a negative asset. And I think you make a good point that he doesn't really change. He doesn't really bring anything the Knicks desperately need other than shooting. Like, he is a good shooter as a big man, and Knicks usually stretch 5, but like, he doesn't. If you're talking about adding him to this team as opposed to getting rid of maybe your pick 3 of Brunson, RJ, and Randall, I don't really know what he kind of brings to the table that's going to help the Knicks, that would help them beat the Heat in that series per se.
He's never won a playoff series. I mean, he averages fewer points than Randall, averages less rebounds than Randall, averages less 3-pointers last season than Randall, plays in fewer games than Randall, is not as durable as Randall, and makes twice as much as Randall. So I don't, there's that appeal just doesn't. He's a big name. He was a former number 1 overall pick. All that stuff. Listen, that's the beauty of Brunson, I think, and the kind of the new direction of the franchise is 2 years ago when you had 17 wins and there was no reason to get excited about the Knicks because they had Kevin Knox.
There's a level of desperation.
100%. There was no box office quality. There's no reason to be excited. They couldn't, after they lost out on KD and Kyrie and LeBron said no and Kawhi and then you have to figure something else out. Then you pivot and say, all right, maybe Towns develops into a superstar. He has the talent. He just doesn't have the toughness. Maybe we can turn it around. The contract's bad, but maybe we get some other cheap, something like that. The Knicks aren't in a position now. That's kind of what I've talked about is the Knicks have the ability now to be selective about stars that hit the market. And Towns isn't even a superstar. He's just an all-star caliber player. So for those reasons, I think the interest and the potential interest, the Knicks' potential interest in Towns has been it greatly exceeds the actual interest would be my assessment.
Yeah, I agree too. Like I said, I tweeted, like, I think to me, like, you would have to attach a lot of first-round picks for me to think that Karl-Anthony Towns would be a viable option for the Knicks. It just
and they don't have
make sense on any levels. Yeah, they don't have. Yeah, but what picks? They gave them all to Utah. So I mean, again, I feel like there's a lot of reason why Minnesota want to get out there that Karl-Anthony Towns fits with a lot of other places. I can understand why they put that out there, but it being the Knicks, I don't see that. Quickly, any of those other names, Bradley Beal, Kyle Kuzma, OG. I know you talk a lot about OG. What about Beal and Kuzma? Those names intrigue you a little bit?
Beal's contract's just as bad as
yes, it is.
As Towns. I like Beal as a player. He does bring something the Knicks desperately need, which is outside shooting.
Right.
But you give up defensively. You give up age. You give up salary cap flexibility. By bumping. I assume Grimes would be included in the deal because Beal would be your starting 2 guard. So I'm going to shy away. Again, that's kind of a desperation move. The Knicks don't have to make. The contract just scares me too much. Kuzma, no, thank you. Just kind of an offensive-minded player, a little bit too. I don't think he'd be a good fit in New York. I could see some issues there. I'm sure he'd like to find his way to the Knicks, but that just seems like a bad mix. What was the other name you mentioned?
Oh, an OG was the guy.
OG, yeah. I'm an OG guy. I think it's a little bit complicated now with as well as Barrett played. I think the Barrett situation is the issue with Randall is it's kind of it puts a holding pattern on some other stuff. What do you do with Obi? Well, we'll find out once we deal with Randall. What do we do with RJ? Well, it depends kind of on what we do with Randall. So there's a lot of things up in the air there.
Yeah, Randall. I think that's a very good way to put it. I think Randall is in some ways kind of like, and that's why I've been so adamant about getting rid of him for so long. Is that I just feel like understanding what the next phase of what Knicks basketball looks like beyond Randall, we just will never know. But it also feels like to keep everybody where they are, like keep RJ where he is as this like weird third option as another ball dominant guy, and Obi has this like backup 4 playing 10 minutes a night. Like that doesn't seem like tenable. Like at a certain point, somebody's gonna want to get traded. Somebody's not gonna play well enough to be traded for anything of value. Like it's like that. I agree, does have to be figured out before they get to doing what they're ever gonna do with Randall or with Randall to determine what they're gonna do with Barrett and Obi. But thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more content like this. If you want to see more of our videos, be sure to check out our playlist and let us know what you think in the comments below.
Also, don't forget to follow us on social media to stay up to date on our latest podcast ventures. Links will be in the descriptions. And as always, thanks for watching, and we will see you in our next video.